Hello, Buttercup. Welcome back to my channel. Today's book review is Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. I actually got that pronunciation correct because I practiced it at least 50 times. I'm really excited to talk about Carmilla. If you can't see the cover, it's really shiny. I'm sorry. It was a Christmas gift from one of the members of the book club that I'm part of. Can you see it now? I don't know. But this is a special edition from Pushkin Press. Yes, from Pushkin Press. So I definitely recommend getting just Carmilla because for a very, very long time I have been told you could only get Carmilla if you got like something along the lines of a anthology of gothic tales or an anthology of vampire tales or blah blah blah. But no, you can now get it just by itself, and I love to see it. Now, I have notes, people. I do. So if you see this moving around or you hear me flipping the pages or anything like that, I apologize in advance, but also not, because I have thoughts, I have feelings, I just need to let it out, and I let it out. It's probably, I don't know, 10 pages. I'm going to do my best to not go off script because I need to say what I need to say. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. This is a 5-star perfect read. I even looked over some of the weird repetitive phrases or wording. Look, it's gonna happen. I'm sure it happens in my books. It's fine. Okay, it's 5. It's 5 stars. 100% recommend. Why? Well, let's get into the summary, and then we're going to get into the why that it's perfection and better than Dracula. Yeah, I said it. This book follows the main character, Laura, through a type of diary form, though there's no dates or times or anything like that to indicate exact dates or times. Or even sometimes at the top you can see diary entries like where they are. That's not really the case. It's within the story. What is indicated at the top is chapter titles, and it's broken up into semi-short chapters. It's a short story, so get ready for very short chapters, which I love. But some people might be thrown off on that. Now, Laura lives with her father, servants, and 2 older women that take care of her. They're in Austria in the mountains, very secluded, though they are near a village, but Laura does not really interact with many people, especially women and men her age. One night, 2 carriages crash near the castle, and the mother of Carmilla needs to go. She's just gotta go somewhere. But her daughter, who's Carmilla, supposedly, is too sick. She just can't travel. And therefore, the mother asks Laura's father to keep her for 3 months, very specific, for some reason. And the father says yes, especially because Carmilla is supposedly around Laura's age, and Laura just needs to be more social. Which, okay, father, maybe like take her somewhere else. But no. It's totally fine. We're gonna invite a stranger into the castle because she looks pretty and she's around the same age as Laura. Yeah. Things are somewhat normal in the beginning, other than Carmilla really feeling up Laura at kind of random times throughout the day and night, and also having random bouts of mad rants. But, you know, that's overlooked until young women in the nearby village are getting sick and then almost immediately dying after getting sick. And there's no rhyme or reason as to why that keeps happening. Well, we know why. I already knew why, because Carmilla, vampire, yeah. But during this time period when Sheridan published it, it was probably a really, really big surprise for the readers. But anyway, another part of this is that because they're so secluded, Laura's lonely, and they always welcome visitors, but one of their visitors, the general, he can't visit as planned because his daughter just died. More on that later. I thought that was very sad, but then we moved on. Like, I thought for a good 30 to 40 pages, it was just something to kind of set aside. But no, the general has a huge part to play in this little novella. And as Carmilla starts to get creepier and creepier towards Laura and even kisses her on the lips. Ooh! Girl. How naughty for 1871. Hello. But I do love to see it. Go Sheridan. Then I saw the connection to the general and Carmilla. You get little drops of knowledge and crumbs. And then I would say for me halfway through, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. I already knew Carmilla was sucking the blood out of the village girls, like I said. And Laura, because that's pretty obvious. Laura is like, oh my god, I have like, it's just itchy right here. It hurts too. It's itchy and it hurts. Oh. And I keep having, you know, visions of like a woman sucking on my neck and boobage area. And then like when I wake up, it turns into a black cat. Oh my god, I'm freaking out. Like, Laura. Things are happening here. Okay. And now here gets into the spoilers, and maybe you want to turn off this video, but I think you should keep going because what's interesting is that Carmilla is Countess Mircalla Karnstein and the woman who killed the general's daughter months ago. Also, the Karnsteins are from this area, and Laura is descended from them, I am pretty sure. So there is some type of connection, even though it's like maybe 5 distant cousins once we moved her. I don't know how you would say that, but there is some blood relation in there with Carmilla and Laura, which is a little weird as well. But I think that is how they are more connected through dreams, because in the beginning, Laura said that she had a very scary nightmare when she was younger, but the woman that was kind of like attacking her-ish, she looks exactly like Carmilla, and then they find a portrait of actually Carmilla in the castle. Yeah, you know, there's some connection with the blood relations, and that's not completely explored, but I think it's interesting to analyze either way. So the general calls in a few men who know about vampires. Duh. And he then goes to visit Laura and her father, gives the summary of all that happened, and they, but like minus Laura, but she's also there, stabs Carmilla in the heart, cuts off her head, and the body and the head are burned to a crisp. And then, because that's not enough, they throw Carmilla's ashes into the river. Damn. That's violent. Okay. But, you know, she's killed people, so I get it. Vampires in this day and age are very hard to kill. Unlike now, where like they just maybe, for example, stick out their hand. Oh, look, there's weird, you know, circle lights. Oh my god, I'm burned. And then you just stab him in the heart too. Oh, ashes. Yeah, in back in the 1800s, you have to do all that. And then you're like, okay, the vampire's dead. Because you just can't be careful enough with lesbian vampires, apparently. Okay? Laura's then taken on a year-long trip to Italy. Jealous. Okay, I would love to go to Italy for a year. To rest and recover from her trauma, but she never truly recovers. The one thing I wasn't a fan of in this book is the beginning prologue, even though it's 3 pages, so I'm like, okay, it's fine. Oh my god, that light. If I was a vampire, I would be dead by now. I'm trying not to get into my face. It's a weird window light thing. That prologue added absolutely nothing. Sorry. Like, the prologue is... Okay. The son of one of the doctors that knows about vampires, that he finds this journal in in his father's study, whatever. Okay, just take out the prologue, and there, it's Laura's diary. And okay, you didn't need the prologue, Sheridan, but that's the only thing I was like, stop it. Stop it. Now, I can absolutely see why, on the one hand, this is peak classic gothic vampire literature, but also why it is underrated or not talked about, or maybe not taught in certain classes. Why? I don't know, whatever. Because Carmilla is a lesbian, basically. Yeah. Probably nowadays it would be taught, so I appreciate that. This is, like I said, you know, a while ago. It's an easier read than Dracula, and it goes really fast. This copy, about 160 pages. Amen. It's fast-paced. I would hope so, because it's, you know, not even 200 pages. But I have read books and short stories where it's short, and I'm like, why is it going so slow? So that can happen. This is not the case with Carmilla. It is readable. It is fast, but not in a bad way. Very atmospheric, very darkly magical. And it's fairly straightforward prose, but it's pretty, and not in a bad way. There are some great words that I had to look up, but I was like, I'm so happy to look up these really big words because it totally works for the story, the paragraph, the sentence. The motifs and the controversies of Sheridan and Carmilla. You all are really assuming a lot about this man. I'm gonna say, yeah, you really are. But y'all, he's Irish. Why is that relevant? Okay, I say that because many Irish writers have pushed back over and over again throughout the centuries on stereotypes and the role of women in society, because the Celts, specifically the Irish in this instance, were what you would call proto-feminists before Christianity took over the island, and also after, in their own ways. Going to speak on just the Irish here. Women could divorce their husbands. Shocker. I'm talking pre-Christianity here, okay? They could own property. They could own their own business, as in, like, they could be potters, and that was perfectly acceptable. They could be bards, and they could also be druids. That's very important, because bards held the whole history in their mind, and druids held the society and the laws in their minds. It took, we're estimating, about 20 years to become a bard, and that's give or take. But that doesn't mean that you're fully a bard. You are still putting in a lot of work, and you'll probably not really know a lot of things until you get like 30 years in. 35, 40, like, it's extensive. Bards and druids, especially druids, very, very important to Irish society. And women could be bards, and they were. Another thing was, if women wanted to, they could be warriors. Now, is it mandatory? No. So let's say that out of 100 warriors, 3 were women. that's better than you're not allowed to do any of that because you're weak and you need to be in the house. You can't do this. That's why we would say proto-feminist, pre-Christianity. And there were still instances of women that defied, Christian beliefs and went about their good old days doing what they wanted. The most popular, the most well-known is the pirate queen, Grace O'Malley. I recommend that you look up Grace O'Malley. She was amazing. So knowing all of that history, I'm reading this book differently than a lot of booktubers, okay? But, I looked it up because I was seeing some weird takes. Your opinion, okay, but I was seeing weird takes, and actually at least there are a number of scholars that I found that relatively agree with me, or they are on the same page as me. So hi, hallelujah. Okay, I'm not going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in my reading of Carmilla. But what do you mean, Nicole? Well, let's go into the fact that Laura's father and even the general are very reliant on women, and that is usually emotionally and mentally, but also physically. They need to physically be around their daughters. They are just not in a weird way, okay? Not in a weird way, but they absolutely adore, love, obsessed with their daughters. I will move mountains for you. That is not uncommon, but around this time, sons are way better. Okay. But in this book, the general and Laura's father, they don't have sons. They don't care that they don't have sons. It's all about their daughters, and everything that they want, they will give their daughters. And also, Laura's father is very reliant on the female servants. I can't think of an instance where it says outright there is a male servant in the house. It is women. Now, they might have a chef that's a man, but I think even the chef, cook, whatever you want to call it, is a woman as well. If they were in England and they were of high society, they would probably have a male cook, chef, blah, blah, blah. And they would obviously have butlers and all that stuff. House full of women, and Laura's father respects all of them and really does respect Laura, but not in an annoying, you can't take care of yourself way. Only when we kind of have figured out with the general and Laura's father that Carmilla is killing the village girls and has killed the general's daughter, and she's going after Laura, will you see men. And they like cut off Carmilla's head and steaky burn her alive. So the very, very physical act of killing Carmilla and saving Laura and any other young girls, that's taken up for men. I don't think, though, that Laura could have killed Carmilla, because though she was scared of Carmilla, I get the vibe that she was like feeling some feels. Was it love? No, I don't. It could have been love if you let it go a little bit. Which it's like, that's why, I don't think Laura could have killed her. Have to have outside help. And Carmilla is extremely strong and smart and uses her prettiness and her sex to get into the castle and hurt and kill for blood. What's also shown is, well, a female vampire. with her own agency. In a bad way, okay? Stop killing women. Stop it. But it's a female vampire with agency, and she is doing bad things, but you wouldn't expect that she would do it, and that is how we're flipping the idea of vampire. And oh, okay, it's not a male vampire, it's a female vampire, and she knows what she's doing. She's done this many times, so she's not frail and she's not stupid. She is a predator, and she plays up her weakness to take advantage of those around her. However, with Laura, I would say it's a bit different, and I think she does love Laura to as much of an extent as a predator can. And I think her end game was to ultimately turn Laura into a vampire, and they would live on together happily ever after somewhere. Maybe she didn't plan it out, but I think that was the end goal. With the general's daughter, I think that was just food, but with Laura, there was a connection, a deeper connection than just, I'm going to suck your blood and then you ultimately die because of blood loss. It was fairly fast for the village girls and for the general's daughter, but it was extended, like months with Laura. So there was something else other than I'm trying to eat you. Sheridan pushes back on the idea of Victorian women with Carmilla, but in some ways shows the reader Laura as being a Victorian lady other than the whole kissy kissy parts. But another fun fact is that during this time, it was unheard of for women to love other women. So it's supposedly not real. It's not a thing. It doesn't happen. Why would women do that? And therefore, never spoken of. It was really, we're gonna not even see this because I can't fathom why women would be attracted to other women, but like men, like, aren't we fantastic? Yeah. And that actually is not just a Victorian era thing. And you know what's also fascinating? The name Carmilla is seen as dark, naughty, and some might say unhinged. You see that in Lana Del Rey's song titled Carmilla. And why? Because of this novel and the associations people have had for hundreds of years in the zeitgeist of Carmilla's name and what that means to people. Carmilla chooses to have connections emotionally and physically in a few chosen women. Her alter ego is a black cat, and she does have nocturnal habits, but the sun will not turn her into ash. She weakens, but it's not significant. And so I'm just saying, another vampire that can walk into the sun. That's my vampire. Or that's my vampires in my books. Other things to note that I thought were interesting. She sleeps in a coffin within the ground in this rundown castle where it was abandoned. She doesn't like religion or religious ceremonies, but she doesn't like freak out or anything like that. She just like has little few mad rants about not liking religion. And her victims seem to be religious, and by interacting with her succumbs to temptation of the body, mind, and spirit that then has consequences that can't be fixed, which is a gothic vampire thing. So very typical vampire gothic vibes that are expanded on with other vampire novels, one of which is the most popular, and that's Dracula. I have heard people saying, oh, it's not true whatsoever that they met, it's impossible that they met. I don't know where you're getting that from. They both are Irish, they both live around the same time, and also, by the way, Sheridan worked for one of the companies Bram Stoker worked for, and I am pretty sure that he either co-owned or owned the whole damn thing. So, I kind of wonder, this is speculation, what would have happened if Sheridan Le Fanu lived to see Bram Stoker write and publish Dracula, because there's a lot of similarities. Do they have copyright issues back then? I don't know. But yeah, eerily kind of sort of vibing with the same stuff. But there are things that Bram Stoker changed. And not to say that Dracula is bad. I own a copy of Dracula, and it's a 3.5 out of 5 stars. What Carmilla did better is the writing style. It's not as dense, and it's short, and it gets to the point. And I have heard many people say, even if they love Dracula, it's really dense. It's not that long, but it feels like it's 600 pages. And there are some confusing parts regarding Renfield, like how does he know certain things. Dracula and Carmilla, classics. I liked Dracula, I love Carmilla, I own both of them, and I absolutely recommend you reading Carmilla. I would say if you have not read Dracula, I would read Carmilla first and then go and read Dracula and just see, what your thoughts are on that. Thank you so much for watching my book review and discussion on Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.